Friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie Yo 532. In that neighborhood. My brothers and sisters. Just a little quick heads up, y'all, that tomorrow on Saturday, I will be reacting to that new Mr. Ballin video that he put out earlier this week. And I think it's almost like an hour long, y'all. An hour of freaking Mr. Ballin. And it has been a long time since he has put out a video that long. So y'all just make sure y'all come on back tomorrow and watch that with me. But for now, it is another Friday. So y'all know who we're about to go back to. Adrian from Coffeehouse Crime. The Coffee Man Fridays, y'all. And the title of the video is The Wannabe Model Who Chose Murder Instead. Now, I'm just wondering what the Coffee Man mean by wannabe model. You know what I'm saying? Was she somebody trying to fake it till she make it or something and then just end up killing? I don't freaking know, y'all. I don't freaking know. But I'm ready to get into it. But before we get into it, my brothers and sisters, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need, please. Another Coffee Man Friday. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's go.
Illegal deals, Hungarian safe houses, and cold-blooded murder. When international businessman and drug lord Tyler Pratt offered his investment to a young man's business, he had no idea that this would backfire and end in his death. And the man on the other end of the gun was his business associate and his politically attached triplet girlfriend. However, their crimes failed to go according to plan when they were unable to murder a witness, leading the two to flee the country and spark a 3-month international manhunt. But their adventure, which included them holding themselves up in a safe house, would end in their humiliating capture. And even after that, more surprises would be unearthed in the courtroom. So, who is Tyler Pratt? What witness was left barely alive after his murder? Why did Oliver Carafa gun both of them down? And who precisely is Lucy Lee? Welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime, folks. My name is Adrian. And this story sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood script. When the daughter of a high-profile businesswoman decided to marry a local thug, it sparked the beginning of a very vicious duo that would do anything for money. But the truth is that both of these assailants had their own dark secrets, as did the victims too, in fact. By the way, Coffeehouse Crime is all about true crime, strange and chilling stories, so if that does sound like your kind of thing, please consider subscribing. Thank you. Anyway, you know the drill by now, so please grab yourself a coffee and let's caffeinate while we investigate. This is the case of Tyler Pratt.
Get whatever you may need. And this sound like they got robbed. Well, was a robbery gone wrong, or maybe they had the intentions to freaking kill Tyler, I think that's his name, and whoever this witness is too. But thank God that the witness survived. Long story short, story long. So these freaking murderers could be captured, but I think they was trying to rob this man.
Welcome back to Canada, folks. Today, we're zoning in on the city of Hamilton, found in the province of Ontario. Now, Hamilton is known for its local arts, culture and culinary scenes, all of which are surrounded by its beautiful nature trails. I hear this part of Canada has the perfect blend of both city and nature. And with a population of 580,000 residents, it is not too crowded while not being overly lonely either. Found on the western bay of Lake Ontario, Hamilton is a port city specializing in engineering and manufacturing. In fact, did you know that more than 60% of Canada's steel is produced here? Google Maps shows how industrial the city has become, with various rail and sea networks set up to distribute products which are made here. Travel to the east of Hamilton and you'll come across the small town of Stony Creek, which is also filled with plenty of warehouses. And one of these warehouses, this one in particular, will become crucial in our case today, because on February the 28th, 2021, a sudden deathly commotion here interrupted the evening air. It was shortly after 7:15 p.m. that the Hamilton Police Service responded to a shooting that occurred on Arvin Avenue within Stony Creek. That was when a passerby found a 26-year-old female crawling on the concrete floor beside her vehicle. It appeared that she had suffered severe injuries, including a gunshot wound to the chest. And although she was alive, it was clear that she was in grave condition. After making a call to the authorities, officers found another victim nearby, that being a 39-year-old male named Tyler Pratt. And tragically, he had already passed away from multiple gunshot wounds. It was obvious that armed assailants had targeted both of these victims. Officers quickly believed that the suspects must have fled the scene in a white Range Rover SUV, and so they requested anyone in the local area to come forward should they have any helpful information. The news was sure to send shockwaves throughout the local community, and it was soon learned that both of these victims, named Tyler Pratt and Jordan Romano, were a couple. The two had been in a relationship for a little bit over a year at the time of the attack, and apparently were absolutely inseparable. And although Jordan survived the shooting, she now faced the enormous challenge of living alone without Tyler. We all know what it's like to be freshly in love, and these two not only lived together, but they shared their entire lives with each other. And now, she was all alone. To add to her grief, she was also 13 weeks pregnant with his child, which tragically was now lost due to being shot. Now, we'll go into more detail in a short while, but it is worth highlighting here that both Jordan and Tyler were into some rather shady business at the time of the shooting. However, it is also worth mentioning that both of them were trying to get better for their child. So, it became quite evident that whoever had shot Jordan and Tyler had clearly intended to murder both of them. However, with them failing with Jordan's death, it became possible that she could find justice if she remembered their faces.
And I hope that she did remember their faces. I mean, I'm thinking that she remembered their faces, but these two you know what, came and destroyed this lady's life. Thank God she survived. Like I was saying earlier when I was saying I'm thankful that the witness survived so she can identify these people. But it's like, man, I didn't know at the time that was her boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? They destroyed her family. Long story short, story long, before it even got started for real. You know, they was in a new relationship. They about to have their first child together. She lost her boyfriend and her damn child at the same time. Freaking crazy, man. And I still think this is money motivated and possibly murder motivated too. They just wanted to kill them because apparently it looked like they did want to just kill them. But I think it's about money too. But let's see.
Saying that, there was one problem with this idea. You see, Jordan, she had slipped into a coma. Jordan spent 3 days in a coma fighting for her life. Her parents and friends were warned that she might not even make it. But thankfully, her strength persevered. Emerging with painful scars, nerve damage in her leg and her breast, and an inability to move without assistance, she luckily woke up with full memory of what had happened. And it turns out, she even knew who her assassins were. The two who gunned Chris and Jordan down were actually business associates. Ones that Chris had personally lent money to help them float their business. And it seems that, instead of paying them back, they opted to murder both of them instead. With that said, the authorities learned that their names were Lucy Lee and Oliver Carafa. With the knowledge that Jordan survived the attack, Oliver and Lucy were now nowhere to be found. In fact, they had actually already fled the country and made their way to Eastern Europe. But before we understand what happened between these two couples, let's first understand who precisely they were. So, without any further ado, let's dive into the world of this mysterious couple known as Lucy Lee and Oliver Carafa. Right, so let's begin with Lucy. Yun-Lu Lee, better known by friends and family as Lucy, was a 25-year-old woman who grew up in Toronto. Born in the year 1999, she is the daughter of Hong Wei Winnie Liao, a high-profile and politically inclined businesswoman who even seems to have personal connections with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. As the president of Respond International Group Corp, Winnie Lau leads a business focusing on Canadian asset allocation, family property inheritance, asset maximization strategies, and of course, tax strategies. After gaining a master's degree in China and then Canada, she devoted herself to the financial industry and has over 30 years of experience. She also holds annual charity galas and has strong connections with local politicians and Chinese diplomats. And so, it is quite clear to see that Lucy is the daughter of a very powerful mother. The surprises with her do not end there, however, because Lucy is also a triplet, with one of her sisters even being a contestant in last year's Miss World Toronto contest. Also known as the Mia triplets, there are actually tons of photos of them online together, where Lucy, Jane and Kaylin often posed in swimwear and gave Q&As to their many fans. Anyway, it's safe to say here that Lucy had a very comfortable lifestyle and was looked after by her mother and her two sisters.
And that's what I was about to say. What Coffee Man basically telling us about Lucy. Long story short, story long. She wasn't hurting for shit in her damn life. She came from a good household. Her mama was just extra successful and powerful. And even though she a murderer, I'm just saying on the outside, on the inside, she ugly as fuck. But on the outside, her and her three sisters, they freaking beautiful. They look like freaking models. Like they look like money. You know what I'm saying? And she still decided to murder somebody. And that's why I said on the outside she looked good, but on the inside you still just as ugly as just the rest of them, man. And you didn't have to do this at all. I don't know. I am not even gonna go down that road. But all I'm gonna say is sometimes people get in relationships with other people, then them other people, and it just turn their whole life upside down and not in the right way. And I'm not saying that's what happened in this case, but that's what it seemed like, man. Like, let's find out about this guy and see what his past is like. Because she seemed like she came from that good life and got with the bad guy, and the bad guy turned her bad. Long story short, short story long.
She was quite extraordinarily wealthy. As for Oliver Carafa, there isn't much to say about this lowlife. At the time this crime took place, Oliver was 28 years old, and although he was initially from Slovakia, he made the move to Toronto with his parents Maria and Wojtek. Unfortunately, his only known history is not pleasant either, because in 2014 he made national news for all of the wrong reasons. It was 10 years ago that Oliver was found guilty of impaired driving, causing death, driving while over the legal limit of alcohol, criminal negligence causing death, and dangerous operation of a motor vehicle causing death. As a result of being found guilty of all of these charges, he was sentenced to a measly 5 years in prison. The conviction stemmed from a crash which happened in April of 2012, where Oliver drunkenly got behind the wheel and drove at almost 3 times the speed limit. As a result, he crashed his car, causing his friend and passenger, 19-year-old David Chang, to be ejected through the windscreen, and tragically, David died at the scene.
Damn, man. I'm just gonna go and say this to y'all, because I don't think I ever spoke about this on our channel. I feel like freaking drunk drivers, man, they need to damn near face the same freaking penalty of a freaking person who killed you. Just shoot you in the head. Like, if you in a freaking car accident and the reason that somebody died is because you was drunk, you know what I'm saying? Then you need to take more goddamn responsibility than 5 years. They just gave that man 5 years. At the minimum, I feel like these drunk drivers that results in people losing their lives should be at least goddamn 25. At the least, man. Like, come on, man. We gotta do better than that. 5 years just because he was drunk? That's not a freaking excuse. That's a reason for me to put your drunk ass in prison. Let's go.
Oliver Carafa's sister Evita walks out of court after a bail hearing for her little brother. The 19-year-old sat in the prisoner's box before Justice of the Peace Mindy Average Skapinker, wearing the same outfit he was wearing early Tuesday morning. That's when the Toronto man was arrested and charged with impaired driving and criminal negligence causing the death of his friend and fitness trainer, 24-year-old David Chang. Carafa's lawyer explains what will happen when the case returns to court on Thursday.
We are returning tomorrow for further evidence, and Her Worship will be considering her final ruling.
It was Tuesday around 2:30 a.m. when police say Carafa, who was traveling at extreme speeds on Mount Pleasant Avenue north of Eglinton, lost control of the 2007 Land Rover he was driving and hit a steel pole, smashing the SUV into 3 parts. Chang, a passenger, was killed instantly. Police allege Carafa was drunk. At the scene of the crash today, a growing memorial of flowers and notes, even the leather belt Chang trained in.
We definitely want to honor him in some way.
At Extreme Fitness Delisle, the general manager says Chang, a University of Waterloo grad, had worked here for the last 2 years. His death has devastated co-workers and clients alike.
5 years later,
I want to backtrack on something I said a little, real quick, y'all, real quick, because I said like it's like you walking up to somebody and shooting them in the head if you kill them in a car accident because you drunk. I want to backtrack on that. It's not really like that. I wouldn't call it murder. I would say manslaughter. You know what I'm saying? You didn't really try to do it or something like that. I don't want to just say it was intentional that he tried to get his friend killed. Or you got other instances of people being drunk and they get their sisters or brothers or mothers or whoever killed, and you know that they ain't really try to do it. So I wouldn't say murder, but I still feel like you need to be charged with something a little more than 5 freaking years. So let me backtrack on that. But it's still horrendous. And rest in peace to that dude that lost his life. Let's go.
And after being released from prison, Oliver found Lucy. And for whatever reason unknown to humankind, she decided that this man was worth her time. Now, although we don't fully know what ventures Oliver was into, we do know that he was a dark entrepreneur with several criminal schemes. And this included him stealing, untagging, and then selling hot vehicles. Anyway, it was during the pandemic that Oliver wanted to start a new business in Europe which specialized in personal protective equipment. However, there was one problem here. He didn't have any money. And that is where Tyler came in. You see, Tyler on the other hand had a lot of money, and what's more, he wasn't afraid to say that some of that was gained through illegal activities. In short, he didn't mind that he sold cocaine. But with his baby now on the way, he aspired to be a more legitimate businessman and away from all of this negativity. And so he started to lend money instead. And so, after meeting through a mutual friend, Tyler invested $500,000 into Oliver's business.
Damn!
A father of 3 children, all under the age of 18, Tyler was described as a phenomenal father. He graduated from the Catholic St. Anne's Academy in Kamloops and was passionate about the Montreal Canadiens hockey team. His family and friends describe him as being continuously driven for excellence. Tyler launched a diamond company named Hard as Diamonds, and then went on to launch a weight loss and wellness supplement company named Elite Organic Nutrition. And, I mean, it kind of has to be said here, but cocaine aside, he was also working on a mobile app at the time of his death. In short, the main reason that he and Jordan had moved to Ontario was actually to get into more legitimate businesses, because Tyler had had enough of the corrupt world. After being introduced to each other, Tyler and Oliver eventually got talking. And fast forward several months, they had grown to become good friends and business acquaintances. Apparently, they had met over 100 times throughout Tyler's investments. And throughout all of these weeks, both Oliver and Lucy had been spoiled by him with many gifts, including fancy watches. Now, although Jordan and Tyler believed that his PPE business was doing extraordinarily well, the truth is that actually it was failing quite terribly. But Oliver would do everything he could to try and trick them, once showing them an image on his phone depicting $12 million in a bank account. Throughout their business dealings, the four never signed a formal contract, but Oliver continuously promised to do so, despite these promises ever materializing. He also began to stall with his monetary payments. He told Tyler that they had to travel to Prague and then open European bank accounts to better access the profits, because apparently wire transfers to Canada would be heavily taxed if they didn't. However, because this was happening in the year 2021, that was indefinitely delayed due to the border restrictions from the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the truth is here that Tyler was never actually a dangerous man, and that, furthermore, he had never threatened Oliver over the borrowed money. But Oliver and Lucy automatically began to feel the pressure, and instead of getting over the situation that they put themselves in, they decided to double down and formulate a plan to murder him and his partner. So,
hey, y'all remember earlier when I was talking about, I feel like this had something to do with a robbery. They was robbing Tyler and his girlfriend or whatever. Man, come to find out, they was robbing him way before they even killed him. You know what I'm saying, man? This man gave that dude $500,000 freaking dollars. He just gave this man, don't really know no background about him as far as like, is he really legit like that? Because if he really would have did his work, his homework, he would have realized that the dude was a freaking shyster. You know what I'm saying? He was a freaking fake. He was a phony out here in these streets. But yeah, they had been robbing him, and just the fact that instead of worrying about or letting them one day letting Tyler find out that you a fake, you rather just try to take their life, his and his girlfriend, just get rid of them. Freaking crazy. But yeah, they had been robbing him.
The murder plan went something like this. Oliver initially baited the couple by claiming it would be easier to transfer money from his business and out of Europe through a life insurance policy, which of course could be set up through Lucy's wealthy mother. Lucy and Oliver then lured Tyler and Jordan to a remote warehouse in Stony Creek, claiming it was the perfect place for them to expand their business into growing marijuana. Oliver boasted that he had several medical licenses, and that this would be the perfect place to do it. You see, Lucy's mother apparently owned the warehouse, and so no one would suspect anything. In reality though, he simply wanted Tyler to be in a remote location so he could murder him. Oliver then borrowed a gun from a friend and asked him to stay in Lucy's apartment with both of their SIM cards. He also asked this friend to routinely use their SIM cards to make it look like they were still in the apartment. Now, this friend had no idea that they were planning to murder anyone. All they knew was that Oliver and Lucy were out on a, quote, super confidential mission. Oliver had also arranged to sell both his Audi SUV and Tyler's white Land Rover after the murders, settling on $4,000 for each vehicle because they were, quote, hot. On February 28, 2021, and at 1:13 p.m, Lucy and Oliver were spotted in the elevator going up to their shared apartment, indicating that they were at the property at the time. 2 hours later, at 3:33 p.m, Lucy was seen leaving the apartment in fake clothes, a hood, and a fake wig. Despite the effort, it very clearly was her, and although Oliver was not present at the time, it was determined that he likely took the stairs. At 5:07 p.m, Oliver and Lucy arrived at the warehouse on Arvin Avenue, and a quarter of an hour later, at 5:23 p.m, Tyler and Jordan followed. That is when they were instructed to pull into the back of the property. But you see, the warehouse was quite clearly locked, and no realtor was there to greet them either. It became apparent to the couple that something wasn't quite right. While Jordan remained in the vehicle, Tyler stepped out and greeted Lucy and Oliver. The three of them then tried to access the warehouse, but with it being locked, they quite clearly failed, and Tyler started to get upset. And that is when Oliver suddenly opened fire at Tyler and then toward Jordan. Tyler screamed for Jordan to get away. That is when she shifted the vehicle into reverse and floored it out of the warehouse parking lot, but only after being shot multiple times. She remembers her partner's last words. It was, "Oliver, what the fuck, bro?" Jordan sped down Arvin Avenue, where she then slipped in and out of consciousness. She then remembers crawling on the road on her hands and knees, asking for help from a driver who had pulled up next to her. That is when suddenly everything went dark.
That is crazy, man.
Over the next hour, Oliver and Lucy prowled the streets around this warehouse, desperately trying to find Jordan, but no matter where they looked, they couldn't find her. And so, eventually, they gave up and fled the area. They eventually decided that, even if she did survive the escape, she would likely bleed out and die instead. I mean, what were the chances she'd find medical treatment within the next hour anyway? Well, actually, that is precisely what happened. And after Oliver and Lucy realized that she'd survived, well, they knew they were in deep trouble. And so, after realizing they'd be wanted for murder if Jordan were to ever wake up from this coma, they decided to do something drastic instead. And by drastic, I mean flee the country. After the murder, Oliver and Lucy returned to their apartment before gathering their belongings. And then, at approximately 3 AM, they drove to a remote gas station and waited for it to open. When it opened at 6 AM, Lucy then went inside and dumped a black bin bag in the public toilets. This bag containing bullets, a hat, and her blonde wig. Next, they abandoned their vehicle before then calling for a cab. Later that day, surveillance cameras captured Oliver and Lucy at Montreal Airport. And with all said and done, that is when they slipped out of Canada's airspace and made their way to Europe.
Hamilton police have confirmed 2 suspects involved in the homicide and attempted murder in Stony Creek last month have fled the country. Based on information, we believe 28-year-old Oliver Carafa and 25-year-old young Lucy Lou Lee boarded a flight from Canada to Eastern Europe approximately 24 hours after the murder of Tyler Pratt and the attempted murder of a second victim. We believe that Carafa and Lee are aware that they are wanted in relation to the incident and are actively evading police. Oliver and Lucy, if you're seeing this, we encourage you to turn yourself in. We are working closely with international authorities, and we are positive that our investigation will lead to your whereabouts. We will continue to relentlessly pursue you.
You know, I just thought about y'all, and I'm hoping that this, I'm hoping first of all that they actually get caught, cause I don't even know if Coffee Man have said at the beginning of the video they gonna even get caught or not. But I'm thinking that they are gonna get caught, and I'm wondering after they get caught, are they gonna be trying to blame each other? How many times have we seen freaking couples or a group of people involved in a murder, and then when they all get caught, they keep saying it's each other's fault? You know what I'm saying, man? Is this going to be another one of those cases? Let's see.
Unfortunately, the authorities had learned of their escape only just a little bit too late. Oliver and Lucy had fled to Frankfurt in Germany, before then driving to his native country, Slovakia, where they then retreated to his parents' home. Despite things being okay initially, Oliver's parents were furious when the news of their arrest warrants became publicly known. They demanded that both of them should leave the house immediately. But that wasn't without any assistance from his father, who actually sent them to a safe house in Hungary. And that is where Oliver and Lucy laid low for several weeks, protected by his father's acquaintances. For these 7 long, grueling weeks, they remained in hiding. But after learning that their international arrest warrants had now supposedly been dropped, they then decided to venture out into the world and travel to Budapest. However, yet again, it looked like the two had no common sense whatsoever, because soon enough, they were arrested while trying to obtain fake Canadian passports. After their arrests, Oliver and Lucy were then separated into their own prison cells and given their own lawyers. And this marked the beginning of the end of our 2 young lovers.
Okay, so they did get caught, and I do remember the Coffee Man saying earlier that after it took like 3 months for them to get caught, and they got caught being dumb like they have been from the beginning, killing them people because you owe them money. Come on, man.
Surprise, surprise, but after 3.5 months on the run together and going through so many obstacles, Lucy's loyalty slowly started to sway. In the meanwhile, Oliver pressured her to fight extradition and claimed that she'd be safer in Slovakia rather than Canada. But unknown to him, Lucy had already made a deal with her lawyers. The long story short is that Lucy promised to return to Canada on the agreement that authorities could only prosecute her on charges of murder. Which sounds pretty stupid to me, because murder could possibly mean life in jail. So why try to avoid all of the smaller charges? Now, Oliver was furious with her decision. Not that it mattered anyway, because he too would be shipped back to Canada, only without the same agreement. What's interesting is that during her interrogation, Lucy actually complained about her flight back from Hungary, citing that she normally flew first class and was not used to economy class or its bland food. And if you'd believe it, her mum even offered to fly all of them back first class if she was permitted to do so. Anyway, in January of 2022, Lucy was bailed out of prison on a $2.7 million bond. However, in May of 2023, and after breaching her conditions twice, she was re-arrested and put back behind bars. And 1 year later, in May of 2024, both she and her husband would stand trial. It is worth mentioning here that our modern-day Bonnie and Clyde both pleaded not guilty. During their trial, the court was given an overwhelming amount of evidence. Tyler's blood was found on the hood of the Audi Q5 that Lucy and Oliver arrived in, and on the center console of his own Range Rover. His blood was also found on a pair of grey tracksuit pants, which they had thrown away. Tyler's and Jordan's DNA was also found on a pair of masks that Oliver dumped in a recycling bin at a general store in Port Carling. This is where police also found Lucy's abandoned Mercedes vehicle and the wig she wore in the surveillance footage. Speaking of vehicles, both the Audi and the Range Rover were also found abandoned and damaged following the shooting. And although Oliver planned to sell them at a discounted rate, they ran out of time when they decided to immediately flee the country instead. Paint transfer was analysed on both vehicles, which determined that the green paint found on the Audi was likely from a structure at the crime scene, and that white paint found at the crime scene was also likely from the Audi. During the trial, a forensic pathologist testified that Tyler would not have died right away, and it would have likely taken many minutes for him to pass away, with a lower limit of 2 minutes and an upper limit of 2 hours. There were 6 bullet wounds on his body, 3 which went through his arm, 1 through the back of his neck and out near his ear, another through a graze on his chin, and then, finally, the fatal shot to the chest, which struck his left lung and lodged into his back. Now, you won't be surprised to learn this, but Lucy's attorney argued that she was not aware of Oliver's intentions, and that, furthermore, she missed several red flags before the shots were fired. While on the stand, Lucy testified that she was on the other side of the warehouse when the shooting took place, and even went as far to say that she was perhaps the stupidest person in the world for getting involved with his business. She further justified her flight to Europe with Oliver by insisting that he had convinced her that their lives were in danger, and that Tyler's gang would be after them as soon as they learned of his death. As for the
Okay, Lucy, you either gotta be the stupidest mup in the world, or you think we the stupidest mup in the world. Which one y'all think it is, my brothers and sisters? Her. She dumb as hell, man. She think we believe any of that craziness that just came out of her mouth.
Blonde wig in the elevator, she claimed that actually it was a fetish wig, and that, furthermore, she decided to wear it while running away from an argument, which is why she was caught on camera. Sure, Lucy, that makes a lot of sense. Jordan strongly disagreed with Lucy's story, and claimed that Lucy was actually physically much closer when Oliver pulled his gun out. It was clear to her that Lucy was an accomplice and not a witness. Jordan told the court, "We considered them to be really good friends. We just had a good relationship with them. I don't know what more else to say, because it's embarrassing that it was fake." Jordan also testified that ever since being gunned down, she has had to depend on alcohol to numb her pain. She has lived with so much fear of being hunted down that she once crashed her car thinking that Lucy and Oliver's associates were after her. In addition to the nerve damage that she has suffered, she also suffers from PTSD and grieves daily for the loss of her partner and her child. However, Jordan would finally bite back in court, telling Oliver and Lucy that they are actually the ones who have had their lives cut short, and that they are pathetic, scary monsters.
True.
After a 7-week trial, the jury took only 1 day to deliberate, ultimately finding both Oliver and Lucy guilty over the murder of Tyler Pratt. They would also find them guilty over the attempted murder of Jordan Romano. Many cheers were heard throughout the courtroom when the jury confirmed its verdict, with Jordan herself shouting "Bye Lucy" as she was led away. During this time, neither of the killers showed any emotion or remorse whatsoever, instead opting to stay silent as they stared ahead. With this being Canada and first-degree murder, both Lucy and Oliver have received life sentences with parole after only 25 years. And so, their only hope of seeing freedom again will begin in the year 2046, which, last time I checked, is quite a while away. Although they're
Yeah, that is a while away, man. 25 to life. We can clap it up on that, my brothers and sisters. I'll take it, man, because we have heard of a lot worse, man. I'll take that. I just hope after them 25 years, they have to still stay in there. 2046, y'all. That's crazy to even think about. Imagine what the world would be like then. I just hope we still here watching these goddamn videos together. Let's go.
Sentences provide justice to Tyler's family and loved ones. Nothing can be done to bring him back from an unkind and cruel death. Sure, he may have dealt with cocaine in the past, which ultimately affects and harms the lives of many others. Murder was not the correct response to this. Already a father to multiple children, Tyler planned to improve his life by switching to more legitimate business practices. And unfortunately, through his own efforts to do so, he found his end. Lucy and Oliver threw this man's life away for a mere $500,000, money that was given to them out of trust. And in response, they betrayed him in the worst way imaginable. I hope that the family and friends of Tyler Pratt will find peace in their recovery. And I also hope that Jordan will eventually get to a point where she finds happiness.
True.
And so, there we have it. The tumultuous, dramatic, and, quite frankly, unbelievable story of Tyler Pratt. You know, if anyone had told me this story over coffee, I would have quite literally told them they're lying, if not heavily exaggerating the details. But nope. Unfortunately, this is precisely what happened. I mean, we have political figures, shady business deals, international evasion, safe houses, and even a fetish wig. Oliver and Lucy really did see themselves as criminal masterminds. But alas, the two are actually quite stupid. And as for Lucy, well, I guess all of her brain cells must have gone to the other two triplets. This story still really baffles me, and Lucy really did have it all. In fact, both of them were born into wealth. Anyway folks, I think that pretty much concludes our case today. Before you go though, I'd love to know what you think about this wild story in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon here. Alternatively, check out my social media here. If neither apply, I'll just see you in the next video very, very soon. But until we see each other again, please remember to look after yourself, look after each other, and as always, stay safe. Thank you, and goodbye.
This was a wild one, my brothers and sisters. This one here was wild with a lot of different moving parts, man. We got a lot of different moving parts. I did not expect this when we first started watching this one, man. And rest in peace to Tyler. And like, thank God that Jordan survived, just first and foremost, so she could identify them. Also, thank God that they got that 25 to life, man. You know what I'm saying? No, they ain't got 25 to life. Why am I saying 25 to life? They got life, but they can't get out until they at least serve 25 years. You know what I'm saying? Or is that the same thing? I don't even freaking know right now. I'm just thinking about this goddamn story, man, and how the fact that I don't think we ever heard of one like this. The fact that they killed him because they owed him money. You know what I'm saying? They ain't kill him because they was trying to take his money. They killed him because they was owing him money and they was scared he was gonna find out that their ass was broke. Long story short, short story long. That is if we have heard a story like that, y'all, that is very freaking rare, man. It is like, man, before you did that, you can just go to the man and just be like, man, I ain't got no goddamn money, dog. Man, I've been lying to you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Tyler would have retaliated in a way where he would have freaking killed them. You know what I'm saying, man? He's starting a family with Jordan. They got a child on the way. He trying to straighten his life up because, you know, he was in the cocaine business. Just the fact that this man got $500,000 to give away is something within itself, man. And then you look at Lucy and her upcoming and what she was coming from with that powerful ass, rich ass mama you got. Why in the hell are you even doing something like this, man? I don't even remember the dude name who were part of the murder scene. Well, who are actually a part of the murder. Don't remember his name. Glad I don't remember his name. I'd be happy when I don't remember these freaking murderers' names. But y'all know who I'm talking about. He had craziness going on way back before this when he got in this car accident with his friend in the car, and his friend ended up dying because he was drunk, and he only got 5 years. Like I said, man, as far as that, man, to me that's some type of form of manslaughter, man. We gotta start holding goddamn adults accountable for their actions, man. Being drunk and getting somebody killed, however it happened, is not a freaking excuse because you drunk. Like I said, man, that just means you need to get your drunk ass in this goddamn prison cell. You know what I'm saying? We all adults, man. It's just this whole story, y'all. Like I said, man, this was a wild one. A lot of different freaking moving parts in this one, and at the end, Tyler lost his life, and Jordan will never be the same again. She lost her whole family just like that. But thank God that she at least survived to get those two behind bars. But I digress, my brothers and sisters. I'm gonna let y'all go now, man. I appreciate y'all coming on back as always. Like I said at the beginning of the video, make sure y'all come on back tomorrow because we're going back to the man, the myth, the legend for an hour freaking long video. I'm, like I said, very excited for that. And before y'all leave, just please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that if you ain't did that yet. And remember this. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.